Hey weight loss warriors, Carrie here. And before we get started today, if you haven't done so already, go ahead and make sure you subscribe to the channel so that you can easily find all the content. If there's one thing I always forget, it's to remind you to please subscribe. So hopefully you've already done that though. All right. So in our last video, we talked about that evil little substance on your kitchen counter that's making you sick and overweight because it's in practically everything. Now, you might have noticed in that video how passionate I am about my dislike for it. And I'm using the term dislike very loosely. So if there's one thing I dislike even more than refined sugar, it's what they're now using to replace the refined sugar with. So in this video, we're going to be talking about the most prevalent substance that these companies are using to replace refined sugar with, and that is high fructose corn syrup, or HFCS. Now, I find it hilarious that companies who produce this try to insist that because their product is made with corn, that makes it natural. Yeah, right. Nothing could be further from the truth. HFCS is exactly what the name suggests. A highly processed mixture of fructose and the glucose in corn syrup. So it's 55% fructose to 42% glucose. High fructose corn syrup began to gain popularity in the 70s when it was discovered to be about as sweet as refined sugar, yet much less expensive. In 1984, Coke and Pepsi companies began replacing the sugar in their beverages with HFCS. In one of our other videos, we talked about what happens to the fructose in refined sugar when the body tries to process it. So unlike glucose, fructose does not stimulate an insulin response in the body. It doesn't go to the cells to be used for energy, but rather goes straight to the liver to be stored as fat. Studies have shown fructose intake can lead to what's called leptin resistance. Leptin being the hormone responsible for feelings of satiety. Basically, it tells the brain that the body is full and can stop eating. Fructose seems to block the production of leptin, which means that you might continue to eat long after your body is full. Other studies have shown that in addition to causing leptin resistance, consumption of fructose also doesn't suppress the hormone ghrelin, which is known as the hunger hormone. To sum it up, fructose consumption not only doesn't cause the release of insulin or leptin, which your body needs in order to know when it's full, but it also doesn't suppress ghrelin, which means that you'll continue to feel hungry for much longer than you should. It's no wonder we're consuming too many calories. Of course, fast food companies are capitalizing on this, right? Get the double cheeseburger, some French fries, and a giant soda full of HFCS so that you're going to continue to eat even after you're full because you're not going to know that you're full. All right, in addition to being linked with obesity, for obvious reasons, I think, HFCS is also linked with diabetes, metabolic syndrome, heart disease, liver disease, and cancer. As we know, the most common product made with HFCS is soda. So a 12-ounce can of soda contains between 40 to 50 grams of sugar in the form of high fructose corn syrup. That's equal to about 10 teaspoons of refined sugar. Unfortunately, soda also happens to be one of the main staples of the standard American diet. And not only are adults consuming soda at alarming rates, but it's also highly targeted to our kids. And it's been so popularized, ingrained, and normalized that it almost seems like no one really thinks twice about drinking it. The fact that it's being served practically everywhere we go doesn't help. Restaurants, sporting events, water parks, zoos, movie theaters, performing arts centers, practically everywhere I can think of. And most people aren't consuming it in a 12-ounce can. In fact, the average cup for kids at fast food restaurants is 12 ounces. Adults get way more. Drink sizes range from 16 ounces for a small, all the way up to a whopping 64 ounces for an extra large. I don't even want to think about how much sugar that is, but I went ahead and did the math, and it's about 250 grams of sugar in the form of HFCS, which amounts to about 50 teaspoons of sugar. It's kind of horrifying. And soda is not the only culprit. Companies are basically putting as much HFCS in their products as they can get away with, usually as a full or partial replacement for regular refined sugar. Why? Because it's cheaper, of course. Generally, what they do is replace most of the refined sugar with HFCS and then add the refined sugar on top of that. So we're getting a double dose of this stuff. Some of the most obvious sources of HFCS are in things like cakes, cookies, pastries, cupcakes, candy, fast food, and ice cream, all of which we probably want to try and avoid anyway since we're trying to lose weight, right? However, some of the not so obvious sources include sauces like spaghetti sauce, barbecue sauce, things like that, ketchup, fruit drinks, Pop-Tarts, frozen breakfast foods, jams and jellies, bread, crackers, syrup, and applesauce. And high fructose corn syrup isn't the only sweetener that refined sugar is being replaced with. It's kind of maddening, but not really surprising to me that companies are using a variety of different chemical replacements that are even worse, if possible, than refined sugar. The most maddening part of all for me is that companies claim that these sugar replacements are healthy when nothing could be further from the truth. Check out my video called Sickeningly Sweet to find out the ones that are used most often and that companies tout as being healthy alternatives to sugar. These are the ones that you might be replacing the sugar in your life with, and we definitely don't want to do that. So definitely check out that video next. In the meantime, try to get as much HFCS out of your fridge and pantry as possible. If you have purchased my weight loss journal on Etsy, there's a page in there that's going to help you to do that. If not, just start looking at your labels. You can start with the things that we talked about in this video, like your ketchup, barbecue sauce, applesauce, all of those things. And then just see if you can find an organic version of any of those products. If not, you might want to think about if that product is absolutely essential for you. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. If you're enjoying this content, go ahead and give it a like and all of that fun stuff. I'll see you in the next video. Have a wonderful day, and remember that you were born to thrive.